Everything Soldier here, and I am back to talk about Doctor Who, the Christmas special, The Church on Ruby Road, and my thoughts on this episode. First off, I want to say Merry Christmas to everybody, Happy Holidays, whatever. Hope everybody had a great day. I had a great day myself, just finished dinner with my family, and then we sat down to watch Doctor Who. Now, what did I think about this episode? Has RTD brought back great Doctor Who? Has he brought back the best Christmas episode ever? Like the one he did on his final time with David Tennant. Was this up to that standard? Fuck no. Holy shit. How to spoil a good fucking day. Watch new Doctor Who. Oh my god, this was an awful episode. It was boring, it felt pointless at times, there were stupid fucking scenes, and there was a point where I actually thought the Doctor defeated the bad guys and thought, did I miss it? I mean, this episode was just boring. And for RTD to... I mean, I've never seen this from him. Especially for a Christmas episode. Like, RTD normally whacks these ones out of the park. I mean, it's a simple fucking thing to do. Have an interesting bad guy, set it at Christmas, the Doctor, beats the bad guy, we see some Christmas shit happening. I mean, again, like, the best Christmas episode, the best one, is the fucking Voyage of the Damned. I mean, that is an RTD episode, and that was the best one. How the hell has he fallen so fucking far? Jesus. This episode was just crap. The bad guys are ridiculous. The fucking way they are beaten, if you can even call it that, is just boring. And, oh God... I can't even talk about it, man. It's just... There was a good part of this episode, and it is going to be probably the most surprising part for some people if you've watched my content. I thought Ncuti Gatwa wasn't bad as the Doctor. I gotta be honest. He wasn't bad. Listen, the guy's gay. He does a lot of shit that looks gay. I can deal with that. I don't really care. I mean, he was alright as the Doctor. Okay, he acted a bit like the Doctor at some points. Some parts he was kind of acting a bit too fucking feminine. But overall, Ncuti Gatwa was okay. He really was. I mean, this is only one episode. We haven't seen him in a full season yet. But I was alright with him. I think he's 100 times better than fucking Jodie Whittaker. He really is. And if this episode had been on at least half the level of Voyage of the Damned, I can actually see myself enjoying Ncuti Gatwa's time as a Doctor. I really could. But unfortunately, the story was just so goddamn boring. And as for the new companion, I mean, Ruby's alright. Listen, she's not bad to look at. She was interesting when she had her time on screen. I mean, again, it's her first episode. I really can't, say she's a fantastic character yet. But so far, it's okay. I mean, I don't like her fucking backstory with the whole mother and church thing. That I don't really need. I really don't. I would have just preferred it if it was just she's a foster kid and that's the end of it. I don't need a mysterious... Well, I can't really go into that because it's not spoilers yet. But yeah, I think Ruby's backstory, it was kind of pointless at some points and just... I don't really care, I'm not really one of those people that needs to know who's the mother, who's the father type. I just don't care. But as a whole, Ruby... okay character. The actress is okay. Okay, that's the honest truth. She's okay. And she's hot. And that's not bad. But other than them two, I mean, yeah, it was just a boring episode with a boring bad guy. And that's just not how you're going to win over Doctor Who fans. I mean, I have to kind of bring this up because it should be something Russell D Davies worries about. Russell, you only brought in 6 million people with David Tennant, and you lost about 1 million of them, well, through the month. So you're on a very dangerous path here, Russell. I mean, starting off Ncuti Gatwa with a very boring Christmas episode, do you really think this is going to bring back any of the fans? I'm not even saying the majority anymore, just anybody. This episode was terrible. It was bad. The bad guys are just too childish. And, I'll go into that in spoilers, but again, it's just a bad episode. I think the CGI is alright. But again, the story, I could just do without it. I wish Ncuti Gatwa had been given something better. I really do. But we'll find out in May how he does with different bad guys. Because they did release a trailer as well today. So, what would I give this episode out of 10? I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, again, Ncuti Gatwa and Ruby are the pluses. So, I would say a 4. A 4 out of 10. It's not a great episode, but them two were actually pretty good. And I know some people were saying that, you know, is Ncuti Gatwa the right person? I think Ncuti Gatwa's problems are that he tries to put on his stupid accent at some points of the episode, but then he just drops the accent and just talks normally, and that is just such a better thing for him to do. I don't need the accent, Ncuti. I know you're trying to do some sort of Kenyan, Scottish accent. Yeah, I'd cut that shit. Just speak like a normal fucking person. And when I say that, I mean speak like yourself. I don't know why you need to put an accent on. You're an English guy. Talk like an English guy. I know you were brought up in Scotland and everything. Just talk like you regularly do. And you'd actually be a good character. So, it's a 4 out of 10. It's not great, but it's not terrible. Again, I watched the Jodie Whittaker era, and it was goddamn garbage. So this, in some way, is an improvement. So let's go to spoilers now. If you don't want to hear spoilers, leave in 3, 2, 1. So the episode starts off with us getting a little monologue from the Doctor and a mysterious woman walking to a church and dropping off a baby. Turns out this baby is Ruby, and she's a abandoned child. I think they had said a special word for it. Foundling, that's it. And after that, we go past the credit scene. She's been interviewed by a woman. What's her name again? I've completely forgot. Sorry, I don't watch daytime TV. I know that's what she does. She's been interviewed about the fact that she's a foundling and how apparently this is a special show on the BBC where if you're abandoned by your parents or if you're adopted, they'll take your DNA and go search for your parents. And that's what this interview is about. But throughout this interview, we will find out stuff about Ruby, how she was adopted by somebody in London and got brought down from the north. She's thinking about going back to the north because that's where she thinks she'll be able to find her parents and all that other shit. Whilst this interview's going on, stuff starts happening around, like accidents start happening, cups being moved, and then before the end of the interview, a light nearly falls on Ruby, but then the light switched and whacks the other woman on the head and puts her in hospital, I think. And it turns out there's something going on. There's some weird, mysterious creatures pulling all of this crap. So we go to the next scene, which is us in a fucking bar, where Ruby's in a band with a trans woman as a singer. Listen, I get it. People are just going to say, oh, don't get, caught up on it. It's a man. I mean, it's blatantly a fucking man. I'm not blind. Anyway, I'm not going to go on a tangent about that, but come on. You can see what it is. Don't make me lie to myself. So, Ruby is in this band and she's on the keyboard, I think, and then stuff starts going wrong again. Somebody pulls out the plug, screws up the, sing-along that was happening, and basically we just get a bunch of scenes where Ruby walks around and accidents start happening to her. She then goes to a nightclub where we see the Doctor in a kilt, not a skirt, a kilt, dancing in the middle of the dance floor. Now, everybody thought this was a gay bar. Now, I gotta admit, I thought this was a gay bar too. Turns out, no, it's just an ordinary club. So, at least they haven't gone that far. Listen, I know where they're going with the Doctor. We all know what Ncuti Gatwa's going to end up doing in the next season. But anyway, so the Doctor is dancing in the middle of the room with a bunch of guys and girls, and listen, is this what I think the Doctor would actually do in this sort of situation? Like, he knows something weird is happening with Ruby because he's been spying on her, because there is a scene where you see him, and I will say this, I am not a fan of what Ncuti Gatwa was wearing. I mean, the hat and the clothes, it was just really, I mean, I get they're trying to do a kind of 70s look with him, retro shit, but the open chest is very weird. Like, that's not how the Doctor. I know, I get it. Russell T Davies is trying something new. Again, you need the real fans back, RTD. You know you need them back. This series is not going to survive with this phantom new audience. I'm just saying, you could just make it a bit more easier for us to accept Ncuti Gatwa than just trying to make him super gay. And I gotta admit, there's a lot of stuff he does in this where you just kind of like, really? Again, Ncuti Gatwa does a good job. I'm not saying he's terrible. It's just, I would like him to act a bit more like the original Doctors. I really would. But anyway, whilst he's dancing in the middle of the dance floor, Ruby sees him, thinks she's attracted to him. Then the Doctor comes up quick to save her drink because somebody tried to move it, or at least one of these creatures tried to move it to make her drop the glass and smash it. And the Doctor pretty much talks about bad luck to her, and she says yeah, and not really much happens in this scene. Doctor says hello and goodbye, basically. Stops the drink getting dropped and then just heads out. But Ruby just ends up dropping the glass anyway and smashing it. So the next scene is Ruby and her friends get into a taxi, driving off, and a snowman about to drop on the taxi. But the Doctor manages to use his stupid looking sonic screwdriver. Listen, again, it's just little fucking details with Ncuti Gatwa that really piss me off. It's like, that is not a screwdriver. That is a remote control. What? Like, I don't get it. Like, you're seriously just trying to push the original fans away at this point, RTD. And I'm just saying, you give Ncuti Gatwa all the normal shit, he'd actually be a liked Doctor. You're putting so much... Anyway, I can't keep going through that. But yeah, I think the sonic screwdriver looks like shit. Okay, it looks like a remote now. And by the way, weren't people moaning at fucking Peter Capaldi for having sonic glasses? Which I didn't give a shit. At least he wasn't calling it like a sonic screwdriver. They were sonic glasses. Like, if you're going to have a fucking controller, call it a sonic controller. That's all you'd need to do. Oh, anyway. So, the Doctor uses his sonic screwdriver to turn the lights green so the snowman doesn't fall on the taxi. The snowman then starts to, well, Ruby's taxi drives off, and then whilst the snowman is still falling down, because the cables are being like snapped off by the mysterious creatures, a woman with a pram starts walking, underneath the snowman, and the doctor runs over to save the woman and her child, stops them. The head of the snowman falls on the doctor, and the doctor's kind of pissed off about this. And then we find out, turns out the woman doesn't have a child. It's just a buggy that's being used as a trolley for food and shit. So doctor's kind of pissed off, and I would be too, because again, you thought there was a child in there. If I knew it was just fucking like groceries and shit, I don't think I'd been that bothered. Probably save your life, love, but then I wouldn't give a shit about the pram. Anyway, so the doctor walks off to his TARDIS, bumps into a police officer who sees what's happening and says, "Are you all right?" And then we get this kind of weird Sherlock scene, and I don't know. It was all right. I could live with it or without it. So the doctor kind of, apparently figures out that he has a diamond ring in his pocket. He then tells the police officer that she's going to say yes. Turns out that this police officer is going to ask his girlfriend to marry him, and the doctor somehow does a Sherlock moment and figures out everything and says yes, she's going to say yes. Okay. So the doctor gets into his TARDIS and just flies off somewhere, and then we see Ruby getting out of a cab with some shopping. While she's walking through, you see the TARDIS and her next door neighbour complaining to another neighbour about the TARDIS and telling him to move it. Okay, but then we head up to, Ruby's bag splits because the creatures tear the under bit of it, so all the shit falls out, and then she has to just pick it up, go upstairs, and then we're introduced to Ruby's mum. Now, I'm not saying this is woke, but it was kind of like, I kind of was surprised, but then again, yeah, they'd obviously do this. This would be the BBC's way of making Doctor Who more multicultural. I mean, isn't Shooty Cat black? Anyway, so turns out Ruby was adopted by a black woman who has adopted 38 kids, and she's happy, and she's also lives with her mother, who's a Jamaican woman, and you meet the family basically. It's basically the old, way we meet the whole fucking family. The doctor's gonna have to deal with the rest of Ruby's time with him, all that old shtick. And it also turns out there's a new baby coming to her mum's house, a little black girl, and she's being dropped off, and basically they're going to look after the kid for the moment until social services know what's happening with the mother. Is the mother going to give it up for adoption, or is the mother going to try to take care of her? Who knows? Anyway, whilst this is happening, the mother then goes out to get some shopping, asks the nan if she wants anything. She says no, except a cup of tea, because that joke gets brought up like 100 fucking times. I don't know why. I don't care. And Ruby gets left alone with the child, and then whilst Ruby is packing away the shopping, I think she gets a call from the woman that was interviewing her, and the woman just tells her, yeah, we can't find your parents because they didn't leave any DNA anywhere, apparently. Now, this is very surprising to Ruby because how can somebody not be able to leave their DNA? Trying to make this whole, like, who abandoned Ruby plot interesting. Again, I don't care. I have a suspicion it's probably the fucking neighbour who's the mum. I mean, that's me. I mean, I'm thinking that's kind of what RTD would do. Say the mother abandoned Ruby, then had second thoughts, and then decided to move in next to Ruby to keep an eye on her. That's what I think is happening. Yeah. But anyway, so she gets the call from the woman, and then the woman starts telling Ruby, after that interview I did with you, there's just been accident after accident after accident, and then a tree falls on her, apparently killing her, and Ruby just puts the phone down. I mean, okay. I don't know if a tree would kill you. I mean, yes, it has a spiky star on the top of it, but would it really kill you? I don't know. So, whilst Ruby was on the phone and is now very upset because she may never find her parents, she then goes back to check on... Well, she starts hearing shit from the monitor, and it turns out to be the same creatures that have been fucking with her all day, and they steal the child. One of them got a picture taken of them by the camera. I have no idea how that happened, since nobody had the camera. I mean, did the camera just activate on its own? That was a very weird scene. It's like, just to have us see an image of this creature. Okay, RTD, you could just had a better reason, like she just saw the creature. I don't know what the point of the picture was. I really don't. Other than to just show us a picture of the alien. So, Ruby, again, a child's been like kidnapped, and Ruby is very calm, which I kind of felt really weird about. Because if I had a child under my care, which I have done actually, by the way, and I've like, once the child was out of my sight for a couple of seconds, and I shit myself, like, holy shit, have I lost a kid? Like, 2 seconds I didn't see the child for, and I worried like, fuck. Ruby doesn't see a child, doesn't know where the fuck she is, and is very calm. That's very weird to me. Again, any adult would be shitting themselves if they lost a child. Yet she's very calm, and it felt really weird. Anyway, so she grabs a stepladder, runs up the top, and then we see the creatures that turn out to be some fucking goblin creatures. And they are kidnapping the baby, and again, this whole situation just feels weird because Ruby is just not concentrating on the child, she's concentrating where she is. Like, she's seen aliens, but again, they're stealing a child, and you're still so relaxed about it, Ruby. That is weird. And by the way, there's aliens, and you're not shocked at all? Like, aliens. And you couldn't give a shit. I mean, it's just such a weird scene. So, they go up the ladder, the goblins, and take the baby with them. Ruby then starts to climb up the ladder herself, and then the doctor comes, and the doctor starts screaming at her, like, why are you on there? Why did you jump on that ladder? Blah, 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 blah. And then he jumps on the ladder too, introduces himself, and then hands Ruby a special glove that apparently you wear this glove and it changes your weight. So it puts all the weight in the glove, so you can just climb up faster or pull down things harder, so they can climb the ladder fast. I will admit the gloves did look cheap as fuck. I get that Doctor Who has well, I don't know anymore. Does it have a small budget? Those gloves look like shit. I mean, they look like something you can get from fucking Primark for about £1. But anyway, so they climb up the ladder, they get to the top, they then get fucking caught by the goblins, thrown in, I don't know, a fucking cell, well, tied up in a fucking cell, and, yeah, Doctor Who gets free, realises that this ship works on some different type of technology, he calls rope technology, and whilst Ruby is trying to get the door unlocked, the Doctor just manages to figure out all of the system of the rope system. Oh, he also figures out what these creatures are and what they're about, which is they're goblins, and they feed off bad luck. So he's apparently found a new kind of civilization and has figured out their entire way of life and shit in one scene. I mean, I could have done with a little bit more detail, and maybe the Doctor taking a little longer on that, but yeah, it's the Doctor, I can believe it. So he, yeah, as I said, releases himself, figures out the rope system, opens the door, and then we see all the goblins like having this fucking concert with some fucking pop star goblin, which was it just did not fit Doctor Who at all. And the baby's on some fucking conveyor belt heading to this fat fuck. So this fat goblin, every goblin celebrating him eating a baby. Oh god, I ate a baby, fat bastard. He really was fat bastard. Oh shit. Yeah, so whilst having this concert and they're bringing this baby down the conveyor belt, Ruby and the Doctor are trying to get through. As the Doctor's realised how to use the rope system, he opens a door into the opens a panel. They fall through. The Doctor grabs the baby, gives it to Rose, and then they have a sing-along. Why? And why are the goblins having a sing-along with them? Like, they're having a sing-along, taking the guy's meal, and the guy and this fat fuck is just happy with it. Okay? The scene makes no fucking sense. Like, why are they celebrating? Why are they having a party? And why are they not grabbing the Doctor and Ruby? Why? And why are Ruby and the Doctor singing? Why? Just grab the baby and run. But then the Doctor opens a panel underneath both their feet, grabs a rope, uses the special glove to have the rope pull them down fast, and then Ruby asks him how they slow down, and the Doctor says, "Love the glove." Love the glove? Really? Okay, so yeah. They escape the goblins, get back to Ruby's house, then Ruby pretty much introduces the Doctor to her family. Her grandmother explains to the Doctor, her life, being an adopted child, and how her mother has adopted like 38 kids and still keeps in contact with them, is a nice person, blah, 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 blah. They put the baby back in the crib, and the mother comes back again, introduces the Doctor, Ruby introduces the Doctor to her. The mother thinks there's something wrong with the baby, because again, she says he's the Doctor. And then, when the goblins look like they're going to come back, they attack, break the window, crack the top of the roof of this flat, and then the Doctor looks around and it looks like they've just given up. And this was the point where I was thinking, did the Doctor just secretly beat the bad guys? Then I realised, oh, Ruby's gone. They've gone back in time and grabbed her. I mean, again, you kind of realise what the ending of this episode was going to be, because you see it at the start, technically. So the Doctor kind of looks around this flat, which had decorations all over. Everybody was happy, and now the mum's depressed, the grand's depressed, and basically it's because Ruby was never in their lives. And the mum has just turned into this like depressed, failed person, basically. So the Doctor realises he needs to go back in time. He realises the goblins, also use time travel. Oh yeah, I forgot that scene, didn't I? The mother asks the Doctor about his parents, and then, RTD's very determined to keep the childish children shit around. And I'm just going to tell him again and again and again. Never going to accept it. The vast majority of fans are never going to accept it. Let it fucking go. So the Doctor says he was abandoned as a child, so he understands how Ruby feels. Fucking bollocks. Anyway, yeah, so the Doctor's figured out the Goblin's plans, goes back in time, figures out where Ruby was left, heads back to that church scene. We see the mother leave Ruby at the church. She heads off. The Doctor sees that the goblins are trying to, kidnap and eat Ruby. So the Doctor chases the goblins, grabs their ladder, and then uses his special gloves to pull down the goblin ship. Pulls the ship down on the church, kills the big fat fuck, and the goblins then disappear back into their universe or their reality. And the Doctor puts Ruby back next to the church and lets time go on as normal, but doesn't head to the mum and ask her why you abandoned your child. Like, why would the doctor not ask? Like, I would. Like, hey, lady, why have you abandoned your kid? I mean, there's something you should have asked, doctor. Anyway, the doctor heads back to the future, sees that everything's been fixed, Ruby's back, everybody's happy, everything's great again, blah, 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 and then says goodbye to Ruby, heads back to the TARDIS, and basically waits for Ruby. That's basically it. Ruby then realizes that he's a time traveler because the doctor tells her about going back in time, runs down to see him. The old woman who was moaning about the box in the first episode, the first part of the episode, tells her to basically go in the TARDIS because that's where he is. She heads to the TARDIS door opens, and then we get a boring version of the TARDIS being bigger on the inside. Yeah, I'm sorry, that scene was boring, okay? She looks at the TARDIS, goes in, and it just felt like such a boring scene. Like, barely any words were spoken. She looks in the TARDIS, sees that it's bigger on the inside, and that's it. That has to be the worst one. I don't remember Jodie Whittaker's reveal, because I will never watch Jodie Whittaker's shit again. But yeah, I think Ruby's, like, it's bigger on the inside scene is probably the worst one. I have to be honest. So yeah, so she asks who the doctor is, and he says he's the doctor, and that's how the episode ends, with Ruby apparently joining the doctor. Oh, and the doctor then heading, activating the TARDIS, and then just flying off somewhere. And then after this small credit scene, there's this really pointless scene, which definitely proves to me that the next door neighbour is Ruby's mum. Of Ruby, of the neighbour telling the other neighbour to not worry about the TARDIS or something, and yeah, and that's how the episode, and just have this really weird, awkward scene, and then that's how the episode ends. Yeah, a 4 out of 10. It's not a great episode. It's not terrible, but it is just boring. Again, it's just boring. That's it. The bad guys were crap. There was nothing really exciting in this episode. Again, RTD used to make incredible Christmas episodes that really had you on the edge of your seat. This episode, it felt like it was just coasting all the way. The writing just felt so plain. Nothing really happened in this episode. And yeah, I think Ncuti Gatwa could have had a great first episode if RTD actually put the fucking work in. I'm sorry. So it's a 4 out of 10. I hope Ncuti gets better bad guys and better storylines, but I did see the trailer and it kind of did seem a bit plain, to be honest. But that's the end of my review. If you like the review, give it a like. If you dislike the review, give it a dislike. And if you like my content, do think about subscribing. And if you have a comment, leave it below and I'll try to get back to it. Entertainment World Soldier. Bye.